Hi everyone and welcome to Industry Insiders, the show brought to you by Edinburgh College, which gives expert advice and inspiration whatever your career goal. I'm Scott and today's episode is all about electrical vehicle technology. I'll be talking to Bob Murphy, a business development manager with eVolt, the organisation which provides electrical vehicle charging technology helping power people's journeys all over the world. Thanks for coming along to speak to us, Bob.
Thanks very much.
So first of all, we want to hear from you about your experience working with electrical vehicles. What did you study at school? And given it's a reasonably new industry, did you move from something else into this field?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roundabout sort of career path for me. I started off as an art student way back several years ago, several tens of years ago now. And from there moved into sales, customer service, working mainly in the contact centre industry. And then from there moved towards sales again with the contact centre industry and into university until I got made redundant. And
what were you studying at university?
I was managing a team of admissions people for Edinburgh University.
Right.
So we were dealing with all the undergraduate and postgraduate admissions. So absolutely no relation whatsoever to where I am just now. But the being made redundant from that role allowed me to come back to college to retrain as a mature student. And it was from there that I then got involved with the electric vehicle industry, and it's kind of grown since there. So, yeah, I kind of round my way to get into it, and it's certainly been an interesting path.
Nice. So obviously you said you went to college before. Did you do any learning on the job as well after you went to college? Or?
Yeah, when I came back to college the second time around, I was studying to be a mechanic, so studying light vehicle maintenance and repair. I'd always had an interest in vehicles, always had an interest in cars, modifying cars, fixing my own things, working on my dad's cars, all sorts of things like that. So when I got made redundant and the opportunity was there to come and retrain and take advantage of the courses that were available at the college, I kind of jumped at the chance and came on board. And through that course, the electric vehicles were enjoying a bit of a renaissance. Mm-hmm. They've been around for hundreds of years. This is something people don't realise, that electric vehicles have been around since way back before last century. But they kind of faded away as petrol and diesel became more prevalent. It's only really just been the last maybe 15 years they've enjoyed a resurgence as due to environmental pressures and so on and so forth. So Edinburgh College at the time were doing a research programme. I got involved with the research programme. And then as that research programme ended and the college moved to a fully electric pool car fleet, I became the fleet manager. So moved straight from the college course into a full-time role. And then that's kind of where it all started off. But yeah, there's lots of on-the-job learning because it is such a new industry. You're always kind of looking at blogs, you're watching videos on YouTube like Fully Charged and Plug Life Television and things like that. You're looking through articles and magazines to learn about the braking technology, to learn about what's coming in the marketplace, what people are doing with the technology. So you're always kind of
trying to learn as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely, and
keep your skills and stuff updated.
Yeah, and what I find as well is that now that I've moved into the charging point provider industry, there's a whole new skill set that I'm learning to do with the electrical side of things, not just the vehicles, but the domestic electrics, grid electrics and stuff like that. These are all kind of conversations we're having with customers. So you're always something new every day.
Yeah. So just moving on a wee bit from that and thinking about your job now, what does a typical day in the life of Bob Murphy in your industry look like?
So my role as business development manager is to deal with inquiries come through for people, businesses want charge points, and to actively generate business for the organisation as well. So there's a lot of site visits, a lot of surveys, a lot of speaking to clients, going to locations to take a look at what power they've got, see what kind of charge points are going to suit their businesses. Speaking with Transport Scotland, speaking with funders like Energy Savings Trust and things like that. So an awful lot of communication, an awful lot of spreadsheets and documents and quotes, and kind of guiding people and offering knowledge that I've gained over the years to help them to put in the right kind of charging infrastructure that's going to suit what they need and that's going to benefit the community as a whole.
So who else works for eVolt, and what kind of roles do they do?
So we've got business development managers, we've got project managers who take on board the projects after we receive a purchase order. So they liaise with contractors and installation teams. So we've got the installation teams as well who do the civils works, the electrical work as well to connect the charge points, to fit them all together, plug them in, power them up. We've got technicians and engineers who go out and service the posts all around the country. They do commissioning, they do maintenance, they do repairs, all that kind of stuff, fault finding and so on and so forth. Then on top of that, we've got sales admin staff as well that work in the main office who deal with all the kind of admin side of things. Then you've got financial staff, credit controllers, and we're now taking on board some extra people as well to help out with running the actual network and the customer service side of things. So you've got loads of different roles all kind of pushed in together there.
So we've got a wide range.
A wide range of skill sets, and a good range of opportunities for people to get involved with industry as a whole. Not maybe necessarily as focused on one role, but if you've got transferable skills in almost any area, there's an area within the electric vehicle industry that they will map across to.
Yeah, nice one. What would you say is the most challenging thing about your job?
I would say just now is the length of the working day.
Just never enough hours in the day.
No, there's not. There genuinely isn't. The kind of level of interest in electric vehicles has risen exponentially. Certainly since way back 9 years ago, 9 years ago when I got started with it all. Although, and having said that, electric vehicles really only make up 2% of the marketplace just now. And if you can imagine all the millions of cars on the road, there's no end in sight for how busy it's going to be. So we're constantly we're finding ourselves. I'm certainly finding myself working pretty long days to get the quotes out, to speak to people, to do the work and so on and so forth. And that's why we're hiring more people to deal with that workload that's coming through. So that's probably the major challenge, is kind of keeping on top of all of that and not letting it overwhelm you. It's the same as any job. You've got to make time for yourself. You've got to know when to stop and switch the phone off.
Definitely.
And go away and do something else instead.
Definitely.
And stuff like that. So that's probably the main challenge. Is just that work-life balance probably is the chief challenge with it just now.
Yeah. And the other side of that is, what is the most rewarding thing about your job?
Being able to put some money behind me, I must admit, it's been because we're so busy, and because I'm working sales, there's a bonus that comes with the sales and so on and so forth. So that bonus just gets put away every month, and it's building up and it's building up and it's building up, and that's the best thing about it. It means I can go away on holidays, I can take that downtime, I can switch off, I can go somewhere where it's not raining. enjoy the sun for a bit and things like that, and buy guitars and that.
Got to be done though, eh?
Oh, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've not gone daft and bought a silly car yet. That was always on the horizon, but I've been quite good so far. So. Good stuff.
So just looking a wee bit at the wider industry, obviously the electrical vehicle industry is evolving. Where do you think the change will be in the next sort of 5 years?
We're going to see a lot more charge points on the streets. We're going to see a lot more charge points in workplaces. We're going to see a lot more charge points in places like airports, hotels, bed and breakfasts, and at homes as well. The domestic market is a huge market. 80% of car charging is expected to be done at home. If you think about it, you park your car on your driveway. If you're lucky enough to have a driveway, it sits there doing nothing all night. And that's the best time to charge your car, is when you're not actually using it. So you're going to see a massive uptake in the electric vehicles that are on the roads, different types of vehicles, so heavier vehicles, commercial vehicles, maybe even electric aeroplanes, fully electric ferries and things like that. There's already some examples of those around and about. So you're going to see this mass adoption of electric vehicle technology with the associated challenges that's going to bring. But then again, at the same time, it brings an awful lot of opportunities as well. So it's just going to get busier and busier and busier.
Yeah. So what are the characteristics of someone who wants to work in the electrical vehicle industry?
I think it's good to have an interest in the technology, to have the ability to speak about things like environmental concerns and some of the kind of key drivers that people have for taking on board electric vehicles. Things like the financial aspects, for instance. You've got to be able to talk about running costs and so on and so forth. You've got to have a bit of a business mind to, sort of understand what businesses want, why they want it, what's going to fit best for them, and things like that. An interest in the technology is useful too, to kind of take you on to the kind of next level and things. But like everything else, if you've got those kind of interests and you want to do something to make the world a better place, there will be a role for you within it.
Nice one. So what is the best piece of advice somebody has given you for your career?
Learn to switch off. Absolutely, is definitely learn to know when you're doing too much, and learn to switch off and make time for family, make time for leisure activities.
Have that personal time as well.
Yeah, just take some time to decompress and just relax. And you can only do so much. If you're pushing all the time to do far too much in one go, it's not healthy. So learning to switch off is definitely one of the things, and persevere, never give up. That's the other thing. If you've maybe not got the best grades or anything like that, or you're feeling like you're not qualified enough, don't worry about it. There are ways around that. There are skills that you have that will be able to move on to good career paths and stuff like that. So persevere, but make time to chill out.
Good stuff. Good advice. For the next bit, some of our automotive students have actually sent in some questions for me to ask you. So the first one is from one student who is studying traditional light vehicle course. How easy would it be to transition into a role working on electric vehicles within a garage? Do you know of any training courses available?
Yeah, there are training courses available for electric vehicles. So you can do this through the college. The college offer various courses, different levels of courses as well. You can do an introductory course, and then it goes more advanced and so on and so forth. That covers basics like the safety aspects of electric vehicles, because of course you're working with high voltage. It will kill you if you do something wrong, so you have to know what you're doing. You also get information on fault diagnosis, plugging the computers into the car to check and see what's going on with it, changing components and so on and so forth, the safe methods of doing that. And there are courses available. Anybody who's done light vehicle maintenance who would then move into a dealership environment will get training through the dealership as well to help them with any vehicles that come through the door. But even having said that, there's plenty of stuff on an electric vehicle that can be done with that kind of basic knowledge, where you're not messing with the high voltage system, where that kind of training is going to come in useful anyway.
Good stuff. The next question is, do you see a time when college automotive courses will just be for electric vehicles?
Good question. I don't think so, because there will always be a need for the traditional skills. And one of the things that's happening within the industry just now is you see a lot of people doing conversions of old vehicles. So take something like a Volkswagen Beetle, they'll take the engine out of it, they'll turn it into an electric vehicle, which has twice the power and 120 plus miles range. It's then environmentally friendly and it costs nothing to run. But if you're then talking about restoring old vehicles, you need those traditional skills to work with metal, to work with welding and so on and so forth, to work with engines and things and all sorts of stuff like that. So I think there's going to be a mix of it as time goes on. Come 2032, the Scottish Government's committed to phasing out the sale of new petrol and new diesel vehicles. But when you look at the amount of vehicles that are already on the market and being used, they're not going to be going away for a long, long time. So there's still going to be a need for people to be able to repair those as well as electric vehicles.
And the next question is, how long does it typically take to charge an electric car?
Depends on the vehicle, but as a kind of rule, if you're using a rapid charger, which is usually a high power charger in a public place like a park and ride or a cinema or a motorway service station, it can take as little as 30 minutes to charge the car up to 80%.
That's not too bad, actually.
Yeah, it's not too bad. By the time you've had a coffee, you've checked Facebook, you've checked Twitter, the car's charged, ready for you to continue the next hop of the journey. Otherwise, if your car is completely flat, you're looking at anything from sort of 4 to 12 hours, depending on the size of the battery, the power you've got available on the charge point. And that's why the domestic charging is great, because you plug it in overnight like your phone. Yeah. And then when you wake up the next morning, it's fully charged and ready to go for you. Yeah.
Good stuff. How reliable are electric cars in comparison to sort of petrol or diesel cars?
They're incredibly reliable. There's far less to go wrong with them. And all the time running the fleet cars for Edinburgh College, the only breakdowns we had were deliberate. Yeah. When I deliberately ran the battery flat to see what would happen, or when we had a puncture, which happened to anything. But yeah, there's less moving parts. There's no oil to change. There's no filters to change really. There's no exhaust that's going to fall off because it gets rusty. There's no major servicing to be done. You just keep the screen wash topped up, keep the tyres at the right pressure. Just get it checked every year, as you would normally do for everything like that, and that's fine. But I mean, there's cars doing well over 160,000 miles without major problems in any way, shape, or form. Some of them aren't even changing brake pads because people aren't hardly using the brakes because the car slows itself down with regen energy as it goes. So yeah, far more reliable than petrol or diesel vehicles.
So how do Tesla provide a longer running time than manufacturers like BMW?
It's down to the size of the battery pack. So each different vehicle has a battery pack in it that provides the energy for the traction motor and the rest of the car. So the bigger the capacity of the battery pack, then the more energy is available for the car. It's like having a bigger fuel tank. You'll go more miles because you've got more energy. So Tesla cars come in battery pack sizes from 70 kilowatt hours to 100 kilowatt hours. And it's basically lots and lots of little batteries put together into little modules that are then tied in together to make one big battery pack. And it looks a bit like a skateboard, the chassis. So you've got this big flat battery pack underneath the car, 4 wheels at either corner, and then the body on top of it. But because they do the bigger battery pack, they can do longer range vehicles than BMW. But other manufacturers are catching up, and the battery technology is getting better now as well. So you can put more energy into a smaller battery pack, a smaller physical size battery pack, which is allowing vehicles like Kias and Nissans and Renaults and things to start to knock on Tesla's door as far as the kind of mileage goes. But yeah, just
so it's kind of like improvements sort of all the time every year.
The industry's moving along at such a pace because people demand cars with high range, which makes no sense really when you think about it, because the average distance for a Scottish driver to do a trip is about 6 miles.
Yeah,
most people
to work or the shops or something like that.
Most people only drive their cars 6 miles a day. Why do you need something that does 600 miles in one go? Do you have the endurance to drive 600 miles in one go? You have to stop eventually at some point to have a comfort break or whatever. So you might not necessarily need a car that's got a massive battery pack. You just have to kind of look at your needs for it. But it's. But yeah, it's the industry's driving stuff like that. People want quicker. They want quicker charge times. They want better range. They want better speed. They want all those kind of things. So the industry's kind of scrambling now to kind of deliver those so that people will buy the cars at the end of the
day. So we're on to the final question of the episode. Where do you see your career in 5 years' time?
Early retirement. No, it's going to continue to get busy. It's I think the role I'm in just now, I'm really enjoying it. I don't want to kind of move up to the next level, if you like, because then it'll take me away from the customers, it'll take me away from the travelling and things. I really enjoy what I'm doing just now, and I really enjoy the interaction and doing presentations and helping to educate people and stuff like that. So I think it's just going to continue as it is for the next 5 years. It's going to get busier and busier and busier. And yeah, who knows? In 5 years' time, goodness knows what we'll be selling. We might be selling charge points for autonomous drones or charge points without a cable. or charging robots. Who knows where it's going to go, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us, Bob. It's much appreciated. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. We hope you found this episode useful. Tune in to our next episode to find out which industry we'll be exploring next.